All right, we're doing a deep dive today into some really mind-bending source material.
It's a fascinating one.
It really is. We've got this rigorous fractal analysis comparing a modern individual, Matthew Paul Jensen, or MPJ, against the ancient linen of the Shroud of Turin, the SOT.
And the whole point here, the mission, is to get beyond just looking at it. Right.
Exactly. No visual resemblance, no DNA. We're trying to see if identity can be locked down using purely quantitative, dimensionless mathematics.
What's so fascinating is that the entire comparison hinges on this idea of mathematical perfection. We're talking fractal geometry, scale, and variance.
The way patterns repeat at different sizes.
Precisely. We're testing if MPJ's biology shows two very specific signatures that are claimed to be in the shroud. One is pink noise, and the other is this almost perfect coherence with the golden ratio, MI5.
So to really get why matching MPJ would be so significant, we have to talk about the shroud itself.
Yeah.
It's unique.
It's very unique. Your standard art paintings, sketches, they have a specific frequency signature. The SOT doesn't fit. The physics suggest a radical, rapid physical event.
Like non-thermal radiation.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And critically, the image itself is unbelievably shallow. We're talking 200 nanometers deep on the linen fibers. Just the very surface.
Okay, so let's unpack that. The pink noise clue. That sounds like the real statistical fingerprint here.
It's everything.
For listeners who aren't deep into signal analysis, what are we talking about? It's not just random static.
No, not at all. You have total randomness on one end and, perfect order on the other. Pink noise sits right on that edge.
The edge of chaos.
Exactly. It's the hallmark of natural systems in what's called a self-organized critical state. Think of a flickering candle or even the rhythm of a human heart. And Fourier analysis shows the shroud has that signature, a perfect one of slope.
And then there's the geometric paradox, which is it's a huge problem for any normal explanation.
It is.
The image has 3D data baked into it. The darker the image, the closer it was to the body, but there's none of the distortion you'd expect.
None. That's what we call the Agamemnon mask effect.
Yeah.
If you drape a cloth over a face, it wraps and distorts.
Mm-hmm.
The shroud image.
Yeah.
It's like an orthogonal projection.
So no warping at all.
Zero warping. As if the 3D volume was just flattened into 2D at the exact moment of creation.
So that sets an unbelievably high bar for MPJ. The identity test is broken into two phases. Phase I is the geometric test.
Right.
For him to match this proposed coherent lattice, his own anatomical measurements, his face length to width, things like that.
They have to show recursive alignment with phi, the golden ratio.
Right.
But it's the tolerance that's staggering.
The statistical variance has to approach zero. The margin is plus or minus 0.005.
It's almost unheard of. I
Yeah.
mean, plenty of faces approximate phi. That's aesthetics. This research demands that MPJ is phi, deterministically. It's an engineering spec on a living person.
And that's just phase one. Then you have phase two, the point of signal test. This is where it gets really wild.
Mm-hmm.
The match has to be absolute. MPJ's own digital photos, his skin, his hair, must produce an identical pink noise slope to the shroud.
Which is the core challenge. His data comes from reflected light, a 2D photo. The shroud's data is 3D distance information encoded chemically, getting the same fractal signature from two completely different physical processes. It's mathematically unprecedented.
So if both of these tests are passed, what are we looking at?
You're looking at a situation where the statistical informational signature of MPJ is, for all intents and purposes, identical to the shroud's. It suggests his very biology is governed by the same critical state physics that created the image.
Which means to claim forensic identity, you have to accept this transformation hypothesis. That's the leap.
It is. It's the assumption that his 3D body was subjected to some kind of physical event, like a radiation pulse, that created that perfect non-warped projection. It's the only way to link his biology to the physics of the image.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? The data is pointing toward a mathematical equivalence. It suggests a person can be the living, verifiable source of a fractal blueprint that, well, that shouldn't really exist in natural biology.
And that leaves us with the final, really provocative thought. The research claims the SOT encodes other transcendent constants phi, pi, even the fine structure constant, 1 over 137, which governs electromagnetism. So, if MPJ is the biological source of that data, what does it mean for fundamental constants of the universe to be physically manifested in a living human body?